Good afternoon and welcome to Matador News. I'm Jamie Pityinger.
And I'm Nicole Edenedo.
LA has been unusually dry and sunny during this usual rain season, but this is about to change. 2 storms will hit the county tomorrow through the weekend. The National Weather Service says 1 to 2 inches could hit the coastal and valley areas, and up to 4 inches could fall in the foothills and the mountains. This would be the most significant rainfall the LA area has received in almost 2 years.
California is experiencing what weather analysts say is the worst drought in the last 100 years. Governor Brown has declared the California drought a state emergency, and the legislature has put together a $687 million relief package. Farmers are worried because they will not be receiving their usual water from state reserves. Mihkel Teemant is standing by with Dr. Helen Cox, a professor of sustainability and climate change from the CSUN Geography Department.
I'm here with Dr. Helen Cox from the CSUN Geography Department. Dr. Cox, thanks for being here today.
Sure, it's a pleasure.
Now we're going to have a couple inches of rain. They're expected this coming weekend. How much is that going to help, and how much do we really need in order to help this current drought situation?
Well, so far this year, since last summer, we've only had about 1.25 inches, and the average is about 9 inches by this time in the year. So we're well below, only about 14% of the average. So you can see that even if we get 2 inches, we're still only going to be, a third of what the norm is to date. So although it'll help, we need a lot more than that. And the other problem is that getting it so late, a lot of the ground is already very hard now. So even when we get rain, unfortunately, rather than penetrating into the ground, a lot of it will run off. And another problem is that a lot of the native vegetation has already gone to seed, like the grasses and things have already gone to seed, and once that happens, even if you get rain, they're not going to grow, they're not going to green up anymore. It's already sort of too late. So it will help the groundwater supply, but not as much as we would like.
Absolutely. And part of California's drought, as you just said, is from steadily also taking from that groundwater, forcing the state to import water from other sources from other states. So what kind of techniques and technology should California be looking into in order to address the problem and also to try and become more water independent?
Well, so we get a lot of our water down here from the Sierra Mountain snowpack, and of course with warming climate, then we're going to have less snowpack and we'll have less runoff, and so that's going to be a problem also. So we need to be transitioning anyway because of climate change to look at how we can have more local sources of water here in Southern California. So one thing that we can do besides conservation is we need to look at more at recycled water, like how we can reuse the water, how we can clean up the water that we have and put it back into the system. So there's a supply line that you can get. It's called the Purple Pipe, which is recycled water. It's not for drinking, but it's fine for irrigation. And if we could get that expanded out to more areas, that would be really helpful. Okay.
And what are some everyday things Californians can do in order to help conserve water, like in their homes and everyday lives?
Yeah, well, about 80% of the water to the home is used on irrigation. So the number one thing would be to go to more drought-tolerant landscaping. In addition to that, shorter showers, not washing your car, irrigating less, common sense, things like that in the home.
Well, thank you, Dr. Cox, for joining us. And now back to you in the studio.
CSUN police are cracking down on drug and alcohol violations at student dorms. Authorities have arrested 10 students for alcohol violations in Building 10 at the University Park Apartments. They have also arrested 5 students for drug violations at Buildings 13, 15, and 16. The rest have all occurred since the beginning of the semester.
CSUN student organization Hip Hop Think Tank is hosting a conference this Thursday and Friday about the high rates of incarceration and deportation in the United States. The conference will include artists, speakers, and activists. To register, visit Hip Hop Think Tank online.
Authorities are searching for a man who sexually assaulted a Pierce College student in Woodland Hills. The Sheriff's Department says the assault took place February 10th around 8 p.m. in the Performing Arts parking lot near the music building. The man was providing assistance after the victim's car battery had died. The man pulled her toward him and began touching her inappropriately. The woman managed to lock herself in her car and drive away. The man was described as a Latino male between 35 to 40 years old with facial hair. He was seen driving a white four-door Toyota Prius with a towing company logo on the side. Anyone with information about the incident or similar types are asked to call the LA Sheriff's Department or the Sheriff's Office at Pierce College.
University police at UC Santa Barbara are searching for 3 men involved in the gang rape of a student last Sunday. This is the second gang rape of a UC Santa Barbara student in the past 2 months. The 19-year-old woman was beaten and raped in Isla Vista. In January, an 18-year-old student was also raped next to the campus, and 3 people were arrested in connection with that attack.
An illness that was eradicated for more than 30 years has returned to California in a different form. About 20 cases of polio-like illness have been identified in the state. The illness, for the past 18 months, the illness has been found in 5 children. Sophia Jarvis is one of them. Sophia's mother is speaking out to raise awareness of the condition. Asthma is what doctors initially thought Sophia had. Today she is doing well, yet still suffering from paralysis in her left arm. Children should be vaccinated according to health officials to prevent polio from returning to the U.S., but there is no vaccine to protect individuals from this polio-like virus. Health officials say washing your hands frequently and avoiding close contact with others who are sick can help people avoid the disease.
A new study says children whose mothers took Tylenol during pregnancy are most likely to be diagnosed with ADHD. Researchers say the drug is known to cause emotional difficulties and developmental problems. Male babies have a higher risk of ADHD than females.
Military families may face a hike in their food bills. Grocery bills could go up $3,000 a year under the latest Pentagon budget proposal. The proposal calls for military grocery stores to offer fewer savings over the next 3 years. The Department of Defense plans to slash most of the taxpayers' subsidies that prop up these stores. The Pentagon will also cap military pay raises at 1% in 2015 and trim housing subsidies for families who don't live on bases.
Arizona Governor Jan Brewer is expected to make a decision shortly on whether to veto a controversial anti-gay bill. The measure would allow business owners to deny service to gay customers based on religious beliefs. The gay community has been protesting the bill, calling it discriminatory and unjust. Governor Brewer says she needs to look at both sides before making a decision.
I have to look at what it says and what the law says and take that information and do the right thing.
Business owners fear that the bill could lead to boycotts of future events such as the Super Bowl in 2015.
Homosexuals are now in danger of spending life in prison in Uganda. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has signed an anti-gay bill and added his opinion.
Of course, they are disgusting. What sort of people are they?
President Obama warned that this new bill will affect the financial relationship between the U.S. and Uganda.
Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro says recent mass protests in his country are aimed at toppling his government. Maduro called a news conference to make his claim. 13 people have died, at least 147 injured, and 9 government officials have been jailed since anti-government demonstrators began protests last week. Maduro is convening a peace conference tomorrow for government officials to sign a deal renouncing the violence. Maduro is accusing the U.S. and government is accusing the U.S. government and media of coordinating the demonstrations against him. U.S. authorities deny any involvement. The press conference came 1 day after Maduro threatened to toss CNN journalists out.
The world's most wanted drug lord, also known as El Chapo, he was arrested Saturday at the Mexican resort town of Mazatlan. A former U.S. Drug Administration official says he had an AK-47 rifle next to his bed when Mexican Marines captured him. El Chapo was escorted by 2 heavily armed military men. Authorities say El Chapo is responsible for 30% of the cross-border drug trade.
New York Knicks point guard Raymond Felton will appear in court later today on felony weapon charges. Felton's wife turned over the high-powered automatic weapon from their West Side apartment. The couple is in the process of getting a divorce. Felton was arrested earlier today and could face 2nd, 3rd, and 4th degree charges of criminal possession of a weapon.
And now here with sports, Danny Max.
Thanks, Jamie. The CSUN's men's basketball team defeated UC Irvine this past weekend 81-75. It was the Matadors' second straight conference win. Junior forward Stephen Maxwell led CSUN with 20 points, and he grabbed 8 rebounds as well. The Matadors play at Cal State Fullerton this Thursday and UC Riverside on Saturday. CSUN's women's basketball held on to first place in the conference, even though they lost over the weekend to Irvine 76-72. Matador junior guards Cinnamon Listor and Janae Sharp each had 8 rebounds in the game. The Lady Matadors will also travel to Fullerton on Thursday and try to keep their big West Conference lead in the standings. The CSUN Matador baseball team won 2 out of 3 games from the University of Seattle Redhawks over the weekend. CSUN won a doubleheader on Saturday, 14-4 and 4-3. But on Sunday, the Matadors lost 4-2. The Matadors will play a single game against the Washington State Cougars on Thursday and a doubleheader against the Cougars on Saturday. The men's golf team finished in 11th place in the Jones Invitational. They finished the match at 22 over par with a total score of 631. CSUN's Ryan Green started the match tied at 22nd place and ended tied at 16th place. CSUN will tee off in their final round tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And that's it for sports. Back to you, Nicole.
Thanks, Danny. The man killed in a car driven by actress Salma Hayek's brother this past weekend has been identified as Grammy Award-winning art director Ian Cutler Sala. Sala was killed when Sammy Hayek's car lost control on Sunset Boulevard and veered into westbound traffic, colliding into a truck. Sala was in town from New York visiting his parents. Sala was pronounced dead at the scene of the crash.
The San Diego City Council has voted to close the beach in La Jolla during the 5-month pupping season of the harbor seals. The closure will allow female seals to give birth, nurse, and tend their young. The council voted 2 years ago to rope off the area to keep people from disturbing the seals, while still allowing narrow access to the water. But the barrier did not stop some people from harassing the seals, some innocently and some out of either malice or as a protest. The issue of people versus seals has raged, costing the city more than $1 million in legal bills.
CSUN students are offering free assistance to help people file their tax returns. The Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program allows people with household incomes of $58,000 or less to be eligible for tax assistance. In addition to low-income individuals, VITA provides assistance to senior citizens, non-English speakers, and the disabled. The services are provided for all U.S. citizens and resident aliens. The volunteers of this program undergo a training course that readies them for tax preparation.
A CSUN sociology professor, regarded as one of the foremost experts on gangs, has died at the age of 89. Louis Yablonsky was known as a sociologist with street smarts. His rough background gave him insight to troubled youths other sociologists did not have. Yablonsky began his career helping gang members and inmates to rehabilitate. He also wrote books on socio-psychological studies he produced during the 60s. Yablonsky taught sociology at CSUN for 30 years.
And Hollywood is mourning the loss of an icon. Brilliant director, writer, and actor Harold Ramis died yesterday at 69.
I have a radical idea.
Ramis was most famous for his role as neurotic scientist Egon in the 1984 classic Ghostbusters. Ramis co-wrote several hit comedies, including the cult classic Animal House.
Toga! Toga!
He directed Caddyshack, the hilarious and thought-provoking Groundhog Day, and co-wrote Stripes, all starring lifelong friend Bill Murray.
He told me that her name was Jill.
Ramis also directed National Lampoon's Vacation and Analyze This.
Just hit the pillow. See how you feel. Feel better?
Ramis died from complications associated with an autoimmune disease he battled for the past 4 years. He leaves behind his wife, 3 children, and 2 grandchildren. Thank you for watching the afternoon edition of Matador News. I'm Nicole Edenedo.
And I'm Jamie Pityinger. Have a great day.